Hi everyone. So another thing that we're going to be looking at and discussing about in the second part of Unit 3 in Math is this thing here, population density. In Japanese, population density is that. Jinkou mitsudo. Have you guys heard of that before? Maybe you talked or you will be, I think, talking about Jinkou Mitsudo in social studies class, I think. Okay? Well, what does population density or Jinkou Mitsudo mean? Well, it means how many people are there per one area, okay? Which is usually expressed as, a square unit, right? For example, maybe square kilometers or square meters or square centimeters and so forth. But again, when we're talking about population density, we're basically thinking about and we're talking about how many people are there for one, keyword is one, okay, keyword is one, okay, square unit, okay, or area. Actually, we actually already touched on this idea when we were talking about comparing the crowdedness of two or more places. I think in the second video on that, okay, I didn't use the word population density, but actually we were already looking at and kind of, using the idea of population density to figure out, which area was more crowded than the other when we were looking at that swimming pool scenario, okay, in the video. So, for those of you who can't really remember the content of that video, or for those of you who are not sure, what part of the video were we actually kind of talking about this idea of population density, well, let me show you the screen for that, okay? So, basically the screen was shown in the video, again the second part, when we were talking about, comparing the crowdedness of two or more places. And we were using, two swimming pools in that scenario, right? So swimming pool A, swimming pool B. And we were trying to compare the crowdedness of the two swimming pools and figure out which swimming pool is more crowded. And again, we discussed about two ways to compare the crowdedness and figure out which one's more crowded. And one way we tried was to find how many people per square meters each swimming pool would have if the total number of people for each swimming pool was divided equally into each of the square meter area. Okay, so the number sentence we used for to figure that out for pool A was we did 20 people divided by 30 square meters. Okay, and that gave us an answer of 0.7 people per square meter. Okay, when we divided the total number of people, which was 20, into each of the 30 square meters, okay, we found out that 0.7 people were going to be in each square meter space. Okay, and also we did the same thing for pool B, right? We found out, that if we divide 34 people into each of the 48 square meter area equally, then there's going to be 0.7 people per each square meter. Now, sorry, I'll just add here that I do remember that for this number here, for this 0.7, it was rounded up, so the actual number was less than 0.7, and I think this 0.7 was rounded down. I think the original actual number was a little bit, bigger than 0.7. But anyways, okay? But anyways, to compare the crowdedness of the two swimming pools, one approach we took was to figure out how many people there will be in each square meters if if the total people were divided equally into each of the square meter areas. When we did that, we basically found out, right? Like if you look at it here, we basically found out how many people there were going to be per square meter. Now I'm just going to go back to the previous screen, okay? And we said, when we're talking about population density, we're talking about how many people per one area, like square unit, right? And in this case, we found out, how many people per square meter. Square meter is, 1 square meter, right? Per for each. So for 1 square meter for pool A, there were going to be, rounded, okay, 0.7 people. So this information here is the population density of pool A. Population density of pool A. And then this information here is the population density of pool B. Okay. Now, sorry, I'm just going to take out a calculator again. Hold on. Okay. Just bear with me a sec. Yep, I'm just going to take out a calculator. So again, I'm just going to show you what the actual number looks like when we do 20 divided by 30. Okay, so this part here, this number sentence here. 20 divided by 30 equals, so that's the actual number, right? Alright, so the population density of pool A is, well, why don't we round to the nearest hundredth place? Maybe that might make it a little bit more clear, because again, when we round the number to the nearest tenth, we get 0.7 for both, right? So let's round this number to the nearest hundredth place, and if we do that, we get 0.67. So 0.67 people per square meter is, okay, this whole thing, or this whole information here, that's the population density, not just 0.67, okay, or 0.67 people, okay, because we're not talking about people, we're talking about people for each square meter, right? So 0.67 people per square meter, that's the population density for pool A. And for pool B, we have to do, so 34 divided by 48 equals 0. So rounded to the nearest hundredth place, it will be 0.71 people per square meter. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of my calculator, and okay, so now we found out the population density of each of the two swimming pools, right? So yay. Now I guess one thing I do want to add here is, so when we are trying to compare the crowdedness of two or more places, okay, the information on population density is, very, very useful, okay, because we can use that to make our judgment, to decide which area is more crowded. In this case, the pool with the higher population density is pool B. What that means is there's more people per 1 square meter. So that's why we can make the conclusion, we can come to the conclusion that pool B is more crowded than pool A. So crowdedness, okay, the whole idea of crowdedness and population density is actually related, right? Because we can use population density to decide, you know, when we're comparing two or more, when we're comparing the crowdedness of two or more places, we can use the information about population density to decide, right? So I hope that, you know, now you understand what population density means, okay? And I hope you can now understand and see how population density, the information about population density, can help us decide, you know, if we're comparing two or more areas' crowdedness, we can decide, you know, which area is more crowded. Okay? Well, thank you very much for watching this video, and you know, like I always say, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me anytime, and you know, I hope we can answer the question together. Okay? Alright, thank you very much. Bye-bye.